The tale unfolds in the bleak northern regions of South Korea. A group of warriors and explorers gathers, seated in a circle. The boy casts out on the chosen expedition route. Though experienced in underground ventures, uncharted lands leave him uneasy. One seasoned traveler cynically suggests bracing for disaster. These lands have been plagued by monstrous creatures since ancient times, untouched by human presence. The group debates potential dangers, including legendary beasts. Mention is made of the squad leader, the clan patriarch's brother, renowned for his formidable strength. Lee Chul remains silent as insults about his history are hurled his way. He's labeled a castaway, exiled for his perceived inadequacy and lack of drive. The young man revisits the sting of disgrace. His peers had risen to prominence while he lingered at the 7th rank. Doubts about his abilities continue to haunt him. A ninja cuts through the chatter, urging the group forward. His tone is composed, yet his eyes gleam with quiet determination. The boy nods in agreement. The troop presses onward into the shadowy forest. While the warriors around them pledge loyalty to Clan Lee's patriarch, Cheol feels uncertain about their reliability. The outcast wrestles with unease. A growing sense of foreboding takes hold, but retreat is not an option. Cheol grips his sword tightly, steeling himself for what lies ahead. Lee Chul reflects on the dreams of his youth. Back then, he believed greatness was within reach despite his lowly standing. From a young age, he carried the weight of responsibility as a member of a celebrated warrior lineage. Reality, however, fell short of his aspirations. The young man ponders his relentless efforts. He had hoped dedication and perseverance would earn him respect, but life had other plans. Lee Cheol speaks of his meridians, energy pathways that proved nearly impossible to harness. This limitation renders magic use exceedingly difficult. Even mastering martial arts poses a significant challenge. Each motion demands extraordinary effort, drawing mockery from those around him. The young man remembers the moment his condition became public knowledge. It served as yet another source of shame and derision. Despite the grim diagnosis, Lee Chul refused to surrender. His victories in the ring were dismissed as luck, but he persisted in proving his worth. By the age of 25, he had achieved the 7th rank, an accomplishment met with ridicule by many. His brothers had reached the same milestone in their childhood. But at 30, he was cast out of the clan. Without his older brother's intervention, he would have been left for dead. About 10 years have passed since then. Now, he roams in search of a place where he can validate his existence. Traversing the desolate lands has become second nature to Lee Chul. Monster encounters are now commonplace, and uncharted territories no longer inspire fear. Lee Chul learns of the passing of the Lee clan patriarch. The third brother has assumed leadership, stirring conflicting emotions within him. Suddenly, the Dark Sword squad emerges. Lee Chul is startled to see them, as he believed he had successfully concealed his tracks. The squad delivers the order without explanation. Their tone carries more menace than authority. They instruct him to meet the expedition at 1830. Lee Chul attempts to inquire about his older brother's fate, but his questions are brushed aside. The young man presses for answers, but the squad merely repeats the directive. The scenario increasingly mirrors a poorly written Hollywood action film riddled with inconsistencies. Lee Chul contemplates the implications of the assignment. He hasn't wielded a sword in a decade, and his martial arts rank remains stagnant at the 7th level. Defying the patriarch's orders is a death sentence. Lee Chul understands he has no choice but to comply. Lee Chul and his companions come across an abandoned manor. The state of the building is astonishing. It appears as though time has left it untouched. Inside, the team makes an unexpected discovery. They freeze at the sight of a peculiar artifact resembling something from ancient times. Amidst the rubble and dust, the skull of an ancient monster stands out. Its size and structure suggest creatures long believed to be extinct. Little uncovers a key item that might unravel the mystery of the estate. He urges the group to press on, emphasizing the urgency of their mission. Suddenly, the group triggers a trap. Ninjas concealed within the walls spring into action, causing chaos and swiftly eliminating everyone in sight. Li Chiol finds himself caught in an unforeseen twist. His adversaries claim the mighty Li clan is merely using him for their own agenda. The young man ponders who could truly be behind this order. The answer shocks him. It's the patriarch of the clan. The enemies explain their task is to bring Li Chul to the patriarch. They assure him the process will be painless if he surrenders without resistance. The situation mirrors a movie scene where villains try to coax the hero into submission, promising an easy way out. One enemy's wound begins healing unnaturally. The foes look at Li Chul with pity, as though he's already lost. But the young man has no intention of giving up without a fight. One opponent expresses disappointment, claiming they expected more from Li Chul. Though the words sting, they only fuel his resolve. At a pivotal moment, Li Chul realizes he cannot die here. He needs a sword to turn the tide of the battle. His eyes land on an ancient, rusted sword lying nearby. Even in its deteriorated state, it's better than nothing. Li Chul decides this is his chance. Li Chul faces an adversary who presumes the right to judge him. The opponent declares the young man unworthy of an honorable death given his past failures. The enemy strikes the outcast from behind, slashing his back with a blade. Chiol stumbles forward, cursing the heavens above. Memories of a turbulent life flash before his eyes. A lifetime of struggles and fleeting triumphs now feels as though it's culminating in this final moment. Li Chul dreams of rewinding time to correct his past mistakes. Yet, reality offers no space for regret or second chances. Suddenly, a voice reminiscent of his father echoes. Li Chul hears questions about Go Jun, but finds no answers within himself. A young boy reflects on the legendary Li warrior clan. He wonders why his father appears so youthful and alive. The infant's hands, symbols of innocence, remind Li Chul that he too was once pure and untainted. In an instant, he realizes these are his own hands. Shock washes over him. He has truly traveled back in time to when he was a baby. Vividly, he recalls the moment of his death. The memory is so intense it feels tangible, as if reliving it all over again. The fate of a child destined for the steel ritual is being decided. His name remains undisclosed, and the Dark Sword Squad stands guard over him. One companion voices hesitation, believing the child isn't ready. Yet, the decision has been made, leaving no room for debate. Li Chul observes the scene, understanding resistance is futile. He sits silently, avoiding drawing attention to himself. His father's prolonged absence and the lingering habit of his presence create a strange, conflicting sensation. Li Chul struggles to process his emotions. What unfolds feels too real to be merely a memory. Li Chul ponders the words he heard earlier, searching for meaning. Li Chul confronts a reality that seems too implausible to accept. Though disbelief clouds his mind, the evidence is undeniable. The realization of traveling back in time hits him like a shockwave. Li Chul wrestles with how such a phenomenon could even be possible. Months ago, he journeyed into the past, and now everything around him feels foreign and surreal. An important day for the Li clan is approaching, the Ritual of Steel. This event will determine who will become the next leader of the clan. Li Chul's older brother returns sacred swords, staffs, and other relics. He has already risen to fame as a formidable warrior. As the ritual nears, Li Chul realizes that everything now rests on his shoulders. The nanny remarks that he appears confident. Those around him are convinced that the young man has a bright future ahead. However, he struggles to see how he can meet their lofty expectations. Li Chul recalls the nanny who always stood by him. Her dismissal, driven by his brother's animosity, was a heavy blow to him. He vows never again to let his loved ones be torn from him. Li Chul is prepared to protect them at any cost, even if it means sacrificing his own life. Li Chul readies himself for the crucial ritual. Everything is in place. All that remains is to begin. The people around him watch with anticipation. The organizers confirm that all preparations for the ritual are complete. Tension thickens in the air. The group begins moving toward the ritual site. Li Chul's father follows closely behind them. The first participants of the ritual step onto the stage. Though their names are familiar to everyone in the clan, they now seem distant, almost like strangers. The first heir of the renowned Li warrior clan, Li Gun-sung, exudes confidence. His presence commands respect and admiration. The heir notes that one participant is still quite young. No one recalls anyone undertaking the ritual at such a tender age. The young bastard evokes mixed emotions. His origins remain shrouded in mystery to many. The ritual begins. Li Chul watches, realizing that this is only the beginning of a long journey. The eighth heiress of the Li clan, Li Hua, is the first to be summoned. They are watching to see which sword will come out and contact her. She is noticed by something unusual, a perfect heirloom, the most valuable of all in the clan's treasury. Among the relics, the ivory sword stands out. Its exquisite appearance evokes admiration and respect. The ivory sword is presented to Hua, one of the participants in the ritual. The lady is congratulated for giving the clan a talented heir. The ceremony continues, and the lady is thanked for the opportunity to participate in such an important event. The ritual passes to Yoon, the son of the strange woman. His presence causes mixed feelings among those around him. Some people wonder how a ritual involving such a person can be conducted. However, tradition requires that all formalities be observed. Li Chul thinks back to his past life, wondering if everything will happen again. In the past, he was chosen by the sword of heavenly rank. The young man looks at what is happening, trying to see if it will be the same as last time. The mistress observes a ritual that raises many questions. The participants discuss how such a ritual can be performed with an illegitimate child. Cold fury is visible in the eyes of one of the participants. She clearly does not approve of what is happening, but restrains her emotions. Guy notices that the boy participating in the ritual is having a hard time. He feels pity and sympathy for his plight. The young man realizes that bastards always have a hard time in this family. Their situation is one of mockery and disdain. One of the elders takes an interest in an illegitimate child. His behavior perplexes the people around him. An old prude is watching what's going on. His presence adds tension to the atmosphere. The chief elder greets the participants, but his intentions remain a mystery. The heir tries to figure out what he is up to. The Darksword squad finds the child, and now a ritual of steel is being performed on him. This causes controversy among those present. Some people think that the ritual for children born out of wedlock is useless. However, tradition demands that all formalities be observed. The heir hears mention of his history. The elder reminds him that he too is an illegitimate son. The elder insists that everyone should know their place. His words sound like a warning, but Li Chul has no intention of giving up. One of the participants in the ritual cannot stand it and responds sharply to the elders. He declares that he will not tolerate such an attitude. The elder watches what is happening, unable to believe his eyes. The situation seems so unreal that it causes him shock. Despite everything happening right in front of him, the young man still can't believe what's happening is real. The ritual continues, and Li Chul notices the atmosphere changing. The elders and the participants exchange glances full of tension. Several very cool weapons react to the bastard. The entire arena is flooded with blue light. The situation becomes more and more unusual. Even a weapon that already has an owner reacts to a young participant in the ritual. The question of how this is possible hangs in the air. Those present exchange perplexed glances, unable to find an explanation. Gumsong calls what's happening a miracle. He suggests that their younger brother has an incredible talent that can't be ignored. The illegitimate do not normally possess such abilities, but the ritual of steel proves otherwise. It causes a shock to everyone present. All the weapons chosen by the young man now belong to him. This event becomes a turning point in the ritual. The situation is so unusual that the elders begin to discuss possible solutions. One of them proposes his own version of the development of events. The counselor wonders what would happen if all the weapons were given to one participant. It could completely destroy the original intent of the ritual. The ritual of steel should be observed from generation to generation. However, current events are questioning its traditional meaning. After much deliberation, the elder takes advice and decides to change the course of the ritual. This decision elicits mixed reactions. The contestant is offered the choice of any weapon. This becomes another unexpected twist in an already confusing situation. Li Chul watches the scene, not understanding why things aren't going the way they did last time. His thoughts are confused, but he tries to stay calm. He realizes that now he can't miss his chance. He crawls among the many great guns for the most powerful one. He chooses the Sword of the Black Dusk. The unknown origin of the spear makes it impossible to associate it with celestial swords. However, he is ranked as such because of what the founder found him. There's something powerful about him. For generations, this sword has never been chosen. Its history is shrouded in legends that are passed down by word of mouth. Among the participants in the ritual, one wonders if anyone will really choose this sword. Its capricious nature is known to all. An unexpected sign from heaven appears at the most crucial moment. This event causes surprise and many questions among the participants of the ritual. The ritual ends, but the atmosphere remains tense. All present stand still, waiting to see what will happen next. It's unclear where this strange boy came from. He evokes mixed feelings, especially for those who are not prepared for such turns of events. Mistress realizes that if this sign becomes a hindrance, she has no choice. She is ready to get rid of anything that threatens her plans. After 9, Li Chul goes to practice and asks his nanny not to worry about his absence. The nanny offers to walk the young man to the hall, but he refuses. Stubbornness becomes his trademark. Despite his refusal, the attendant insists. The nanny notices that the other gyms are indeed empty, but that doesn't stop him. There is someone waiting for him in the hall. He looks around, but sees no one. On the 7th platform, however, someone is definitely there. Liwa feels her grip strong under the pressure of the training. Mr. Book, who is watching the process, doesn't let her relax for a second. He notices her and calls her 8th. The babysitter says you can't use that kind of language, and he should call her big sister. The training starts with strict instructions. The sword must become part of the body, and each strike must be precise and powerful. Li Hwa is focused, but the tension is rising. Mr. Book, who is observing the training, constantly yells at the girl. It's annoying. The training continues despite the fatigue. Liwa realizes that this is the only way to achieve mastery, but sometimes it seems impossible. Commander Baek Lee Hyun of the elite squad teaches the young men martial arts. His presence inspires respect, but also questions about why he is here. Yun felt that such an experienced warrior shouldn't waste time training a 9-year-old girl. Li Chul receives assurances that he too will soon find a teacher who will appreciate his abilities. The young man reacts with restraint, but inwardly hopes for the best. The conversation turns to the topic of eating and caring. Someone in the audience jokes that Li Chul clearly hasn't starved since childhood, unlike the others. The young man declares that he doesn't need a teacher like Baek Lee Hyun. He thinks that he only comes out of respect for their father, not out of a sincere desire to help. Among the halls, one special place stands out, connected with the history of the clan. It recalls the great warriors of the past and their exploits. Li Chul notices that the hall, more like a museum, holds ancient relics and weapons. The training room holds ancient relics that are used for training. This place becomes the center of attention for all who aspire to mastery. After returning to the past, Li Chul notices significant changes in himself. These changes become the key to his new abilities. Among all the changes, one amazing ability stands out: the ability to read the weapon's memories. This opens up new horizons for him. Li Chul demonstrates his unique ability, the ability to read the memories of weapons. This discovery becomes a key moment in his training. The young man begins to hone the fundamentals of swordsmanship. He realizes that even the simplest movements require perfection at all levels of skill. The extent of the owner's attachment to the weapon becomes an important aspect. Li Chiol observes that each weapon holds unique memories. Everything Li Chul learns in this room helps him better understand the memories stored in the weapons. Every movement, every detail becomes part of his skill. The 7-star sword technique becomes the next stage of training. Li Chul studies every move, trying to achieve perfection. Over the past 2 years, the young man has mastered the memories of many ancient weapons. This all becomes a real treasure trove of knowledge for him. People around him remark on how well Li Chul has mastered the 7-star sword technique. His perseverance and talent are admirable. Li Chul demonstrates excellent mastery of the 7-star sword technique. His skills are admired by others, especially Counselor Li Daehong. Counselor Li Taehong, a 4th-ranked man, notices the young man's perseverance. He is proud of Li Chul for coming to practice every day. Li Daehong greets Li Chul, joking about doing without formalities. He's proud of the young man who comes to practice every day despite the hardships. The conversation turns to the topic of his relationship with his brothers. Li Daehong expresses his hope that the young man will be able to overcome his difficulties and earn respect. Li Chul calmly replies that he's still part of the famous Li clan. His self-confidence is impressive. A young man learns about his family's motto and realizes that respect can only be earned through strength and perseverance. Some people still doubt Li Chul because of his background. However, that doesn't stop him from pursuing his goal. Li Daehong offers to be the young man's teacher, but he politely declines. Li Chul is perplexed by this decision, but Li Chul remains adamant. Li Chul thanks the counselor for offering to be his teacher, but politely declines. He explains that there are difficulties. Li Chul reminds him that according to the clan's laws, he's not entitled to a teacher until he gets a name. He doesn't want to cause trouble for those around him, even though his siblings have long ignored these rules. The young man insists on following the rules, even if everyone around him breaks them. He wants to gain respect with his sword, not through exceptions. The conversation turns to the topic of his older brother. Li Daehong feels like he's looking into his eyes, even though he's far away. This brings up mixed emotions. Li Daehong recognizes that he can't change anything about the current situation. This realization makes him feel helpless. The uncle expresses concern that he cannot help the young man. This becomes another reason to think about the future. Suddenly, an idea pops up. Li Chul decides to ask his uncle for help to find out what's underneath the secret warehouse. The uncle agrees to listen to the request, but is very much surprised to hear it from the little boy. The guard stops the group, demanding to see their documents and explain the purpose of the visit. Tension in the air grows. General Li Daehong introduces himself and states that the purpose of their visit is to audit the warehouse. His confidence relieves some of the tension. The general says he is bringing the heir of the Li clan with him. The guard, satisfied that the visit is legitimate, allows the group to pass. The group continues through the gate opened by the guards into the heavily guarded area. Yoon tries to act like he's interested in everything. It helps to avoid unnecessary questions. The secret warehouse turns out to be exactly the place they were looking for. Daehyun asks if he really likes it here. Li Chul enthusiastically confirms that he knows about the treasures and the best weapons of the Li clan stored here. He is looking for something specific. Among the relics stand out legendary swords, the existence of which is hard to believe. Their history is shrouded in mystery and myth. If such things really exist, they should be in the Li clan's armory. This becomes the key target of the search. In the basement of a warehouse, a weapon storage facility is discovered, isolated for unknown reasons. This place raises many questions. Rumors of a weapon of monstrous rank capable of consuming its wielders brings mixed feelings to the group. Li Chul listens intently, trying not to betray his interest. One of the group members jokingly asks if Li Chul is scared. The young man denies it, but is reminded that access is still forbidden. General Mido Hong decides to go up to the upper floors on business, leaving Li Chul to inspect the warehouse. This becomes a chance for the young man. It's not so easy to play a naive child. Li Chul tries to stay calm, so as not to arouse suspicion. The Li clan's armory holds many relics, each with its own unique history. This place becomes a real treasure trove. The purpose of a trip is to find a certain weapon. Li Chul is focused on the search despite all the distractions. Among the relics, a weapon capable of taking any shape and changing weight stands out. Its limitless possibilities are awe-inspiring. Li Chul recalls how Jiam Song found the weapon. His story becomes the key to understanding what they are looking for. Reflecting on his eldest son, who is a more suitable candidate, Li Chul has mixed feelings. He realizes that his path was predestined. Li Chul summarizes his search. He didn't find out much, but he realizes that he must act to prevent past mistakes from happening again. Perhaps it won't work the first time, but the young man is sure that he must find the right option. His determination knows no bounds. This time, Li Chul intends to get the title of changeable rather than stay in Li Gun Sung's shadow. This becomes his new goal. Going through the daggers, the young man realizes that he has already wasted an hour searching. However, he does not give up hope of finding the right weapon. Despite his best efforts, Unlimited can't be found. Li Chul is sure the weapon is here somewhere, but he may have missed something. He walks over and accidentally grazes something on the table. The action causes something to fall to the ground with a thud. Among the relics is a rusty piece of iron that raises questions about its age and origin. This adds to the mystery of the quest. Touching him around, everything changes. Our guy realizes something is going on, and he gets sucked in. The surroundings seem so realistic that Li Chul feels as if he is really in the place. Memories of weapons that make the blood run cold in the veins become the focus of attention. Its ancient origins and destructive power evoke fear. The ancient civilizations that created these weapons are long gone, but their legacy continues to influence the world. He comes face to face with it. Li Chul wonders how anyone can even hope to defeat him. The only way out is to run before it's too late. Suddenly, a stranger appears and intercepts the weapon. His appearance raises more questions than answers. With a single blow, the stranger demonstrates his strength. It is a sight that makes everyone freeze in amazement. He dissects it and moves on for many more hard and fast strikes. Li Chul can't believe what's happening. This warrior seems to have incredible abilities that surpass anything he's seen before. The stranger demonstrates his power with a single blow, leaving everyone in shock. His actions are so fast and precise that they seem unreal. The stranger notices Li Chul, and this causes a mixture of fear and curiosity in the young man. The situation becomes even more tense. The stranger asks why Li Chul came here. His tone sounds threatening and calm at the same time. He explains that he acts out of mercy, promising that the young man will feel no pain and will be sent back. Li Chul feels the slow movement of the stranger, pinning him to the ground. The feeling seems so real that it causes him to doubt what is happening. He realizes it's the same sword and makes a cut on himself to see if he's worthy and if he has a connection to the sword. The young man declares that he will become the governor of 100,000. His words sound like a challenge, but also like a promise to himself. Everything glows, and finally Yunosha unites with his sword and raises it up, tasting it as it changes its shape into different ones. Finally, Li Chul finds what he's been searching for, the Unlimited. This weapon becomes the key to his future and new opportunities. Li Chul fails again in his attempts to master Boundless. It's been a week now, and there's hardly any progress. A strange ring appears on his finger from the moment he visits the secret warehouse. He says he turned the Sword of the Infinite into a ring. Li Chul wants no one to guess his plans. The stranger met earlier was displaying incredible skills. His movements, called the Slashing Demon, make Li Chul admire him and want to learn. In addition to his crushing strength, the stranger shows extraordinary grace. Li Chul realizes that he still has a lot to learn. A young man remembers his past life, where he was the disgrace of the family and failed to learn even the basics of the family trade. Now, he has a chance to change all that. Li Chul is confident that he can replicate the stranger's movements. He has memorized every action, but he can't reproduce them with the same accuracy yet. However, his doubts do not leave him. He realizes that he is too young and inexperienced to match the adult warrior. Li Chul tries to replicate the movements of an adult warrior, but realizes that his childish body requires adaptation. He decides to take his time and let things flow naturally. He says you have to adapt this technique to your baby body. The guy takes his time and waits for the skill to come on its own. The young man realizes that he needs to handle the sword in a way that is comfortable for him, rather than copying someone else's movements. This becomes the key to his progress. The correct direction of the punch becomes the next step. Li Chul focuses on accuracy and correct application of force. Despite his best efforts, trying to do everything the way he did in his previous life does not bring results. The young man feels that he has forgotten something important. Li Chul decides to try again. His persistence and desire to learn knows no bounds, even if success is not yet evident. The lady asks who taught the young man this technique. This becomes an opportunity to reflect on how he came to this knowledge. Dark hair and yellow eyes catch Li Chul's attention. He runs into a stranger who seems to know him. The girl is surprised not to be recognized and asks what the young man's name is. She jokes that she doesn't get out much. Yoon's name seems unusual. She introduces herself as Lee Kyung-ha and adds that she is his father's younger sister. Li Chul remembers her uncle talking about her in a past life. Her unusualness did not please her grandfather, which adds intrigue to their meeting. Lee Kyung-ha notices that the young man is rather frail and wonders why he doesn't realize the immense strength he possesses. The girl asks how he knows this technique. Li Chul explains that he learned it from ancient martial arts, which he is very interested in. She recognizes the ancient martial arts in the moves that Li Chul is demonstrating. His interest in these techniques grows as he finds them incredibly fascinating. The conversation turns to the ancient times when there were giant monsters on Earth. Lee Kyung-ha gives the young man a gift of a book on mana control techniques. Li Chul can barely make out the handwriting, but he realizes it's valuable information. His interest in ancient techniques grows. He learns that this place holds not only martial arts, but also high-level techniques. Perhaps everything he's heard about his aunt is fiction. This book describes an ancient technique for controlling mana through energy channels. In the past, it was used only with channels, not meridians. The girl wonders if it is fair to consider ancient techniques obsolete. He realizes that he hadn't thought about it before. Perhaps ancient energy management techniques are even better than modern ones. Mana manipulators are few and far between, and the search for ancient methods is becoming important. Li Chul realizes that this is exactly the technique needed for Limitless. Mana is distributed from the heart throughout the body, which opens up new possibilities. The main thing is not to let the energy return to the heart. It must remain in the channels. This is what the young man lacked to understand. Now that he's got it all figured out, the technique should work. Li Chul is focused and ready for a new phase of training. He uses this technique, and it works. Too bad he broke down the gym, but it worked. The reinforcement technique works. This becomes a real breakthrough, and the girl can't contain her excitement. Li Chul demonstrates the amplification technique, causing astonishment to those around him. When asked how he did it, he says he just did it, and that's it. She's amazed that the young man was able to perform the technique after studying her notes. This becomes her greatest discovery. Lee Kyung-ha reveals that she has been looking for a way to learn the amplification technique for over a decade, even when she was kicked out. She asks Li Chul to tell her how he did it. He asks Lee Kyung-ha to promise him 3 things. The first is not to talk about him to anyone without her permission, not even her father and uncle. Lee Kyung-ha explains that she doesn't like people talking about her behind her back. This becomes an important condition for their future communication. The second condition is not to lie to him. The young man adds that then he won't lie to him either. They need to trust each other. The girl agrees to his terms. She's getting impatient. She asks what the third condition is. A year later, Li Chul hears his name being called. The young man turns around to see what's going on and sees the nanny. He wonders what happened. There is silence all around, and only the echo of his footsteps breaks the stillness. Li Chul receives an invitation to the Lifnar Senii ceremony. The order is signed by Deputy Patriarch Lee Myung-jun, which raises questions for the young man. The young man had heard that someone was going to Ixanalia, but didn't expect it to involve him. He begins to prepare for the ceremony. The guy asks what's going on. Lee Kyung-ha explains that she's just starting to learn the techniques, and it's important to her that he continues to teach her. Lee Kyung-ha reveals that they have invented a method that combines the best of ancient and modern mana management techniques. With this technique, Lee Cheol has surpassed his peers who only use modern methods. This becomes his advantage. She asks him not to leave for the ceremony, but Guy insists it's his duty. He promises to return soon and continue his training. Lee Cheol decides to combine training and learning mana techniques. His persistence and desire to learn knows no bounds. The training begins with the task of withstanding magical attacks for half an hour. This becomes the first serious test. The squad leader notices that the kid has changed. He now uses more complex techniques that require maximum concentration. An illegitimate son, many people believe, should not be able to withstand such an ordeal. However, Lee Cheol defies all expectations by fending off attacks with mana control. His extraordinary giftedness becomes apparent. It is no longer appropriate to call him a bastard, and those around him begin to reconsider. The commander promises to do his best to train Lee Cheol well. His goal is not just to prepare him for the ceremony, but to unlock his potential. He wonders how magical attacks on children can be repelled to increase their resilience. This becomes a new challenge for her research. Lee Cheol doesn't expect an apology from his opponent, but the latter's tone changes drastically. The young man decides to take a rest to regain his strength. But suddenly he is stopped by a punch from his older sister, Lee Hwa. His vacation plans will have to be put on hold. She decides to talk to him to discuss their problems. She is the direct heiress. She says he's a bastard and younger than her, but he walks away saying he doesn't have time for that kind of talk. The girl doesn't let herself be ignored. She tries to hit him with her mana in her fist. It's not just a punch. The older brother replies sharply that if she wants tantrums, let her go to her mother. He is busy and does not intend to waste time on such conversations. Lee Hwa realizes that it's all because of him. After the steel ritual, she is constantly being compared to him, which makes her feel guilty. Lee Cheol faces accusations of sticking his neck out, unlike the other bastards. His persistence and successes cause envy and irritation. The young man replies that he has a hard time and cannot afford the luxury of sleeping and eating as he pleases. His life is one of constant training and discipline. He suggests that his opponent should do everything he can to become a better person if he hates him so much. Lee Cheol has no intention of making excuses for his success. Tension builds, and his opponent promises to flog Lee Cheol at the ceremony. The young man reminds him of this promise without losing confidence. Lee Cheol continues to train despite the threats. He knows that this day will come and is ready for any challenge. A servant greets the mistress who is watching the training. Her presence adds seriousness to the atmosphere. The mistress asks to be left alone with her daughter. The man obediently agrees, continuing his training. When asked what she is doing, the girl calmly replies that she is practicing. His focus and persistence know no bounds. The mother tells her daughter that she heard some bastard beat her and now blames her for being weaker than the scum. Lee Hwa hears him accuse her of only studying from under the stick. However, she assures him that she does it of her own free will. Mistress asks if she is motivated by her rivalry with another apprentice. This comes as a surprise, as she is the rightful heir to the clan. She is reminded that they are on a whole other level, and she has an obligation to be superior to others. It's not up for discussion. Lee Hwa is faced with a gift, Juicy Morok, a deadly poison that can become a weapon in his hands. She is advised that if she cannot surpass her rival, she must destroy him. This becomes a new twist in their lives. Mistress leaves, saying it's the way of their family, a family of cunning and deceit. The nanny looks at the monitor screen and wonders. What she sees seems impossible to her. The clan publishes the rankings of the fighters from the past weeks. The young man's gaze lingers on his position. Progress is being made, but there is still a long way to go. Mentor claps him on the back, approving of the results. Her brightness is like the sun. Li Chul nods, keeping his expression neutral. Annie demands to start practicing immediately. The boy holds back a sigh, kneading his wrists. The exercises are exhausting, but he can't back down. The young man says that no one has ever heard of trials relieving weakness. The girl is clearly deceiving him. The guy is getting ready to show her something that will surprise her very much. The girl can't wait to see it. The first star on my belt glistens in the light of the lanterns. Auntie is very much surprised by it. Training an iron body requires complete concentration. The guy balances, practicing his kicks until his muscles start to shake from the strain. The Qigong technique is difficult. Li Chul closes his eyes, concentrating on the blade. The throbbing in his temples increases, but progress is palpable. Li Chul tries to keep control of the energy and channels at the same time. His muscles shake with tension, but he continues, ignoring the growing fatigue. The speed of mana mastery surprises his mentors. The young man grasps techniques quickly, as if they were programmed into his subconscious. The balance between the heart and the energy channels is nearly lost. Guy concentrates, equalizing his breathing to avoid collapse. The body as a vessel for mana. This concept becomes the basis of training. Li Chul experiments by redistributing energy flows. Reaching 2 stars is still ahead of us. The young man nods, remaining outwardly calm, but inside he feels a surge of determination. The speed of progress raises questions. Mentors exchange glances as they assess a student's potential to exceed expectations. The first star is just the beginning of the journey. Li Chul studies the award, realizing that the real test is yet to come. The doubts of the mentor are ignored. The guy continues training as if every movement is a step towards disproving all the skeptics. The young man's abilities are called exceptional. Li Chul silently practices his punches, proving that talent is just a bonus at the start. The second star is worth more labor. Li Chul takes the path, clenching his fists. His gaze slides over the cold faces of his mentors, assessing every gesture. The training room fills with the hum of mana. The mentor demonstrates combat stances, her movements precise and ruthless. The apprentice repeats, copying every curve of her body. A metal claw with serrated edges is placed on the table. The boy runs his finger along the blade, testing the sharpness. The cold metal leaves a thin scratch on his skin. Li Jun Quan introduces himself as the leader of the Blood Tiger Squad. His armor gleams, and his voice sounds like an order. The group of fighters stops in a respectful bow. The training involves blocking attacks with his eyes closed. Li Chul relies on his hearing to dodge blows that cut through the air with a whistling sound. The timer starts. The guy rushes forward, practicing a series of blows on the dummy. Each blow is more precise than the last, the seconds counting down loudly and inexorably. A sharp shout causes Li Chul to freeze in place. His lips curl into a thin line, but he nods, showing his willingness to obey. His attempt at dialogue is cut off with a firm gesture. The guy looks away, concentrating on practicing his punches as if words no longer mattered. Coach asks about what it means, eyes narrowing, analyzing each line, but the clue remains elusive. The mentor accuses him of using a prohibited weapon. There is cold silence in response. My fingers involuntarily clench the hilt of the blade, but no excuses follow. Insults fly towards the student. His back tenses, but his face maintains a stony calm. Each word is ignored like background noise. Training in arcane techniques begins without warning. The instructor's movements are sharp and precise, as if he's carving instructions right into the air. The mention of the Enlightenment methods arouses interest. His gaze glides over the scrolls, where knowledge is encrypted, accessible only to a select few. The sixth sense hidden in the blood is the key to a new level. My palms clench into fists, as if trying to grasp an invisible thread of energy. The training session is interrupted abruptly. The instructor disappears, leaving only a hint of continuation. The boy stays in the gym, repeating the movements to the point of automaticity. Preparing for the test requires extreme concentration. Li Chul concentrates, knowing that one wrong move could cost him everything. The block is made in time, but the opponent does not give up. The guy feels the tension in his muscles, but continues to repel attacks without losing his cool. Thoughts of his past life flicker through his mind. The young man remembers how he used to be unable to cope with the strain, but things are different now. This time will be different. Li Chul inhales deeply, tuning in to the challenge ahead. Every movement becomes more precise and confident. A sharp scream breaks the calm. The girl flies away, but quickly regains control, continuing to practice her strikes with the same precision. Training with Li Yongquan leaves marks. His internal organs are damaged, but the young man ignores the pain, focusing on the result. The teaching methods seem too rigid for a child. However, Li Chul does not give up, accepting the challenge and beginning to learn new techniques. Losing consciousness becomes habitual. The guy gets up after another fall, joking about his high endurance, and continues training. The power of the moron is used to excess, but the body endures. The mentor notices something special about the student that sets him apart from the rest. Try to master several types of sujin at the same time elicits laughter. Li Chul fails, but his persistence makes his mentor respect his approach. The results of the training become noticeable. The techniques are performed with equal precision, as if the guy had mastered them long ago, although this is only the beginning of the journey. The class continues. Li Chul returns to his starting position, preparing for the next round. His eyes burn with determination despite his fatigue. The idea of fighting back comes out of the blue. Li Chul hesitates, assessing the odds, but quickly dismisses his doubts and prepares for action. A sharp shout breaks the silence. The sister says that Chul owes him a favor and attacks the coach. There is no chance of winning alone. The young man realizes that only teamwork can produce results and starts looking for an ally. The mentor observes the training session, asking a question about teamwork. Li Chul nods, confirming his willingness to work together. The team is working harmoniously. The boy reflects the attack, showing his improved skills. The mentor nods approvingly, noting the progress. A sharp scream echoes through the hall. Li Chul freezes because Li Hua is now attacking from the other side. And while Hua is attacking the coach, Guy realizes that he won't be able to fight back with conventional weapons and removes his ring. Attacking the Limitless requires complete concentration. The young man synchronizes his breathing with his movements, turning each strike into part of an elaborate ritual. Li Chul gathers his strength and prepares to attack the coach. He uses the demon slashing punch. He thinks it will work. But no, the teacher deflects his attack and hits him back. The young man's body slammed hard into the wall, leaving a huge dent in it. Such was the force of the blow. 37 days of training are behind him. Coach stands in front of him and squares his shoulders. The sixth sense is finally awakening. The young man feels a new level of energy, but his mentor reminds him that there is still a lot of work to be done. The workout is winding down. Guy wipes the sweat from his forehead, feeling every muscle remind him of itself. The hero uses stealth to break through the block. Li Chul is forced to use mana, breaking his rules, but the result justifies the means. The mentor praises the apprentice for his understanding of battle tactics. The older brothers begin to see him as a serious opponent. On the 47th day, the sixth sense reaches a new level. Li Chul feels tired, but also proud of his accomplishments. The older brother, Li Myung-jun, appears in the hall. His presence evokes mixed feelings, but the young man remains calm. The title of Shimmering Star is awarded with honor. Li Chul realizes that this is only the first step to greater achievements. The older brother confesses that he was the only favorite brother. The young man listens in silence, realizing that past hurts are behind him. The brother confesses that he has always known about Li Chul's abilities. His words sound sincere, but there is a slight bitterness in them. The young man interrupts his brother, not allowing him to belittle himself. For him, all brothers are equal, regardless of their status in the clan. The mentor notices that Li Chul is being too hard on himself. The boy has not yet gone through the naming ceremony, but he is already demanding the impossible of himself. His brother's apology is interrupted by a soft but firm gesture. Formalities are discarded. Only sincerity remains between them. Memories of his childhood come up in conversation. Li Chul has always been kind and helpful despite the pressure from the clan. The older brother helps with resources, even though it costs a lot of effort. His support becomes another step in strengthening their bond. The older brother admits that the other brothers see him only as a rival. However, the younger brother stands out. He is not like the others. The rivalry between the heirs is inevitable. Li Chul realizes this, but hopes that their competition will remain fair and respectful. The older brother emphasizes that their relationship goes beyond mere kinship. He sees Li Chul not as a younger brother, but as a worthy rival. The older brother promises to wait for the day when Li Chul becomes his strongest opponent. His words sound like a challenge, but there's a sense of respect in them. The young man remembers his older brother, who has always been an important figure to him. Their bond goes beyond mere rivalry to become something more. A few days have passed since the second stage of the ceremony began. Li Chul is getting used to the new environment by studying the soil and air of the island. The red and blue island is strikingly unique. The color of the soil changes depending on the concentration of mana, creating an unusual visual effect. The mentor explains what awaits the participants at this stage. His words sound like instructions for a complex but exciting game. Special items help track the location of the participants. Li Chul puts them on, realizing that they are not to be taken off under any circumstances. The nurse finally decides to ask the question that has been bothering her for a long time. Her voice sounds uncertain, but her eyes show determination. Ever since they started training together, Li Chul has felt that his sister was hiding something. Now he's ready to find out the truth, no matter what it is. The guy gives the opportunity to speak. The sister inhales deeply, gathering her thoughts before she speaks. It shows a poison that affects children under the age of 15. Even brief contact deprives a person of the ability to use mana for a long time. She takes and throws away this vial her mother gave her. Now, there's no evidence against her. She promises not to use prohibited methods. Her attitude towards the competition remains serious despite the provocations. Even without warning, Li Chul treats the test with full responsibility. His determination does not depend on external factors. The center of the island is considered a dangerous place. Guy has heard the warnings, but he is more concerned with how to pass the test than with the possible risks. They split up, and the sister wishes her brother wouldn't die on the way. She decides to walk along the beach. Li Chul refuses to take the safe route along the shore. Instead, he heads into the heart of the island, ready to meet any challenge. Eighth does better than expected. She successfully completes the first stage, showing unexpected abilities. This is her first real fight, but she acts with confidence. Her mentor notes that her sixth sense has awakened, and she is set up for success. 47 days of training had changed her. The initial difficulties were behind her, and now she was ready for new challenges. The ninth heir, Li Yun, achieves success faster than the others. His abilities are respected, but also envied by the participants. The heir to an honorable clan behaves like a rat, seeking comfort in a dangerous environment. His actions evoke mixed reactions. Finding a safe place in such an environment is a wise decision. The mentor defends his choice despite criticism from others. The success of the eighth heir is admirable, but also tense. Competition has always been fierce in the venerable clan. The heirs of an honorable clan can't afford to be ordinary. They are ridiculed for their origins, but this only spurs them to action. Li Chul heads toward the center of the island, ignoring the warnings. His determination raises questions, but he has no intention of stopping. He is not the only one who notices the strange behavior of the mentors. The other participants also begin to question their motives. Li Chul's plan remains a mystery. His mentor observes him, realizing that the young man is acting unconventionally but effectively. The guy is a master at hiding his intentions. His actions go unnoticed until he finds himself in the center of events. Li Chul's unexpected act causes confusion. The other participants don't understand what he's up to, but they can already feel the tension. A scream interrupts the silence. Someone tries to stop Li Chul, but he keeps moving forward, ignoring the obstacles. Laughter erupts in response to his attempts to stop him. Li Chul demonstrates that his plan is working despite all the obstacles. The young man doesn't want others to see his next move. He acts stealthily, maintaining an advantage over the others. Now that he is no longer under surveillance, Li Chul can act freely. His plans become bolder and riskier. The preparations come to an end. The young man looks at the result of his work, feeling a slight bitterness at the challenge ahead. Mana leaf tea turns out to be an unexpected discovery. In his previous life, he could not have imagined that such simple things could be so useful. The mana plants on the island are a real boon. Li Chul decides to use them to increase his energy potential. He's getting ready to drink that tea, but everything stops him. He really doesn't want to, but he realizes he has to. The taste of the potion is disgusting, but the young man realizes that it is a necessary sacrifice. A 3-week struggle for survival begins. On day 18 of the naming ceremony, Li Myung-jong's office is disrupted. His subordinate delivers unsettling news, hinting at danger. The atmosphere grows tense as the master's expression darkens. A looming threat overshadows the room, leaving little room for doubt. Yu Jangian's report suggests trouble brewing. The Li family's plans may face unexpected challenges in the coming days. A large group of wanderers enters Korea's northern region, near the Li family's mana stone mine. Their silence is suspicious. Despite expectations of chaos, the wanderers remain still. Yu Janghyun suspects their calm masks a calculated, dangerous plan. The proximity to the mine raises alarms. The Li family prepares for potential threats, though the wanderers' motives remain unclear. Wanderers, known for lawless crimes, rarely enter clan territory without backing. Their presence suggests a hidden agenda. Li Myung-jong theorizes they might be disguised operatives. The Kowloon faction's involvement adds complexity to the situation. Intel hints at a larger conspiracy. The northern border becomes a focal point for potential conflict and power struggles. The Nine Dragons faction emerges as a key player. Their sudden interest in the north hints at hidden motives and strategic moves. The faction's actions suggest a power play. The Li family must prepare for potential clashes over territory and resources. The northern region transforms into a battleground. Competing factions vie for dominance, threatening the fragile balance of power. Yu Jangyan's team uncovers the threat faster than expected. Their efficiency highlights the urgency of the situation. Li orders deeper collaboration with intel units. He fears the situation might escalate beyond their control, requiring swift action. The master's unease grows as new details emerge. The Li family braces for potential conflict, knowing the stakes are high. A chilling plan is revealed: 2 nights to eliminate a target. The cold efficiency of the threat signals a brutal clash ahead. The calculated nature of the plan suggests careful preparation. The Li family must act swiftly to counter the looming danger. The stakes rise as the threat becomes personal. The target's identity remains unclear, adding tension to the unfolding drama. A 7th-class dragonkin monster, Draco, makes its appearance. Its roar shakes the screen, signaling its role in the conflict. The monster's presence adds a new layer of danger. The Li family must prepare for battles beyond human adversaries. Draco's introduction leaves viewers on edge. The upcoming clashes promise to be both thrilling and unpredictable. The dragon launches its beam at our protagonist. It seems to be the end. The boy bravely looks straight into the face of death. He knows what to do. At the last second, he heroically dodges a bright dragon shot. That was very dangerous. He draws his sword that shines with lightning and prepares to strike back. He wants to get past the dragon in one fell swoop. He comes face to face with this dragon, a couple of meters apart. Now it's all about who strikes first. The guy swings his sword and screams a low blow. All the energy he has stored up in him is put into that blow. A strong blow came right to the monster's head. The dragons opened its mouth and started screaming. After a few seconds and a precise scream, it slammed to the ground and fell down. Our protagonist breathed a sigh of relief. Dragonkin proves to be on another level entirely. Their power is overwhelming, far beyond what most humans can handle. Facing one right after entering Gyeokchangdo would have been fatal. It took 19 days to reach the dragon's domain at the center. Staying too long in the dragon's domain is risky. Time is precious, and lingering could lead to disaster. The journey this deep wasn't without purpose. Every step forward was calculated, and every risk weighed carefully. The reason for venturing so far becomes clear. The stakes are high, and the rewards must justify the danger. The center of Gyeokchangdo holds secrets. Uncovering them could change everything for the protagonist. The mention of an 8th-class monster adds intrigue. Lizardmen, though low-tier, play a surprising role in the story. Something feels off since yesterday. Lizardmen, usually found on the outskirts, are now appearing in the center. Their behavior is strange. They don't fight back, only run. This suggests they're under some kind of external influence. The protagonist begins to suspect a larger force at play. The mystery deepens as the stakes grow higher. If the lizardmen are being controlled, the situation is more dangerous than it seems. The protagonist prepares for the worst. The realization hits hard. This isn't a coincidence. The pieces of the puzzle start to come together. Once might be coincidence, but twice is a pattern. The protagonist's instincts scream that something is very wrong. The lizardman's unusual behavior confirms suspicions. A hidden force is manipulating events behind the scenes. The protagonist's resolve hardens. Whatever lies ahead, they're ready to face it head-on. Tracking the lizardmen becomes the next priority. Their movements could reveal the source of the strange influence. The bloodline of Sungwiga is mentioned, hinting at monstrous power. The protagonist's journey grows more perilous. The stakes rise as the protagonist uncovers more clues. The true nature of the threat begins to reveal itself. The young boy's achievements are impressive. Taking down so many creatures alone shows his growing strength. Despite his youth, he's proven himself capable. Yet, the challenges ahead will test him like never before. The boy walks into an obvious trap, unaware of the danger. His inexperience could cost him dearly. Beast tamer Nishiyama Shogo watches, confident in his plan. He doubts he'll even need his failsafe. The trap is set, and the tension builds. The boy's fate hangs in the balance as the story reaches a critical point. A monster taming ability reveals the presence of a beast tamer. The protagonist questions how an outsider entered Gyeokchangdo. The possibility of an insider's involvement grows. The mystery deepens as the protagonist pieces together the clues. A teleportation formation inside Gyeokchangdo suggests betrayal. Someone within the family might be aiding the outsiders. The protagonist debates reporting the situation. Waiting for reinforcements could mean losing critical leads. The tension rises as the stakes become clear. The protagonist must decide whether to act alone or seek help. Time is running out. By the time reinforcements arrive, the mastermind could vanish without a trace. The protagonist realizes there's only one option left. Acting alone is risky, but it's the only way to uncover the truth. A concealment technique is prepared. The protagonist readies themselves for a dangerous solo mission. Suppressing their presence, the protagonist moves stealthily. Every step must be calculated to avoid detection. The tension builds as the mission begins. The stakes are high, and failure is not an option. The protagonist's determination shines as they prepare to face the unknown. The decision is made. The protagonist will take down the threat themselves. There's no time to wait for backup. The protagonist's resolve is unshakable. Whatever lies ahead, they're ready to face it head-on. The enemy gains the upper hand, using advanced tactics. Lee Cheol desperately searches for weaknesses in their defense. Each strike is countered, but the fighter refuses to give up. Even in dire situations, his determination shines through. The battle reaches a critical point. The young man's next move could change everything. The illegitimate son of the Li clan exceeds expectations. The enemy underestimates him, and it becomes a fatal mistake. Mockery only fuels Li Qiu's resolve. A fierce duel erupts, revealing the true strength of both fighters. The young man proves that talent isn't bound by blood. His growth becomes undeniable in the heat of battle. The third strike of the 7-star sword falters. Li Qiu's body freezes, and his mana refuses to obey. A trap is revealed, an advanced array blocking his mana channels. The enemy mocks his helplessness, confident in victory. The tension peaks as Li Qiu faces an impossible situation. The next move could decide everything. The enemy's taunt about mana being everything fuels his growing confidence, while Li Qiu's eyes blaze with unwavering determination. Desperation turns into calculation. The young man searches for a way around the trap, ignoring the taunts. A turning point approaches. The pressure mounts, but Li Qiu isn't ready to give up yet. Alternative mana paths. Li Qiu finds a loophole in the trap. His body responds, and the enemy's smug grin fades. Improvisation changes the game. The fighter strikes back, proving even the direst situations hold a chance. The battle's momentum shifts. The enemy realizes he underestimated Li Qiu's resourcefulness. The enemy's snarl betrays his confusion over how Li Qiu escaped, but Li Qiu stays silent, preserving his edge. His strategy hinges on keeping the enemy in the dark. The clan has been warned, but the young man doesn't back down. The fight continues, both sides pushing their limits. The tension remains high. Every move could be the last in this deadly dance. An unexpected maneuver from the enemy shocks Li Qiu. A strike no one saw coming changes the balance of power. The enemy's confidence wavers. Now he's on the defensive, while Li Qiu presses the attack. The climax approaches. The battle's end promises to be explosive. Turtle Head Mountain, guardian of the red and blue island, emerges. Its presence adds a layer of mystery to the unfolding chaos. The ancient guardian hints at a greater role in the conflict. Li Qiu's journey takes another unexpected turn. The stakes grow higher. The young man's challenges multiply, but so does his resolve. A third-rank monster emerges, a nightmare made real. The idea that a third-rate trainer tamed it seems impossible. Li Qiu quickly realizes the beast isn't fully under control. If he can target the trainer, the monster might be neutralized. The tension rises as the young man devises a plan. Facing the monster head-on isn't an option, but there's another way. The only way to counter Turtle Head Mountain is through drastic measures. Li Qiu prepares a banned mana booster, despite its risks. The side effects are severe, but the situation leaves no choice. He never expected to use it, but survival demands sacrifice. The young man braces himself. The booster's power could turn the tide, but at what cost? Aunt Jianga's forbidden technique comes to mind. Reserved for the most dangerous situations, it's now Li Qiu's last resort. The stakes couldn't be higher. Using it risks everything, but failure isn't an option. The young man takes a deep breath. The technique's power is immense, but so are its consequences. The monster halts mid-attack, stunned by Li Qiu's unexpected move. The young man seizes the moment, preparing a decisive strike. The battle's momentum shifts. The monster's weakness is exposed, and Li Qiu doesn't hesitate. With one final effort, he aims to end the threat. The tension is palpable as the fight reaches its climax. Mana waves immobilize Li Qiu, leaving him vulnerable. The enemy's strategy becomes clear, overwhelmed with sheer power. Frustration builds as the young man struggles to move. The battle isn't over, but his options are dwindling. Desperation fuels his next move. Li Qiu refuses to let this be the end. Dark energy surges within Li Qiu, resisting the monster's fear aura. The young man pushes through, defying the odds. His resilience surprises even himself. The enemy's advantage begins to crumble as Li Qiu fights back. The tide turns once more. The young man's determination proves stronger than any fear. Time is running out. The side effects of the mana booster and forbidden technique leave Li Qiol with only seconds to act. Every moment counts. The young man focuses, pushing his body to its limits. The final seconds tick away. Li Qiol's next move could decide everything. 8 seconds remain. Li Qiol's body strains under the pressure, but his mind stays sharp. The trainer's location is within reach. The young man channels every ounce of strength for one last push. The tension is unbearable. Success or failure hinges on these fleeting moments. 3 seconds left. Li Qiol is close, but not close enough. A fraction of a second could make all the difference. The young man curses his limitations. If only he were stronger, faster, this might have been easier. The final moment arrives. Li Qiol's resolve hardens as he makes his move. The battle's aftermath leaves Li Qiol exhausted. His body screams for rest, but the danger isn't over yet. Monsters still roam the area, and passing out now will be fatal. The young man forces himself to stay alert. Every second counts as he prepares for the next challenge. Survival demands he push through the pain. Aunt Jianga's advice echoes in his mind. Li Qiol retrieves the medicine she gave him, a safeguard for moments like this. He drinks it quickly, feeling its effects almost immediately. The young man knows he can't afford to collapse now. With monsters closing in, Li Qiol readies himself. The fight isn't over, but he's not going down without a struggle. Everything around him turns pure white. Disoriented, Li Qiol struggles to understand where he is. His body feels like it's being torn apart. The tamer's fate is unclear, but Li Qiol can't dwell on it. Pain radiates through every muscle, but he refuses to give in. The young man grits his teeth, determined to endure. The fight isn't over yet. A purple honeycomb-like structure catches Li Qiol's attention. Realization hits. It's the purple twilight stone, a rare and powerful artifact. The stone wasn't meant for him, but circumstances forced his hand. Consuming it comes with risks, but the benefits are undeniable. The young man hesitates, knowing the stone's true purpose. Yet, survival leaves him no choice. A voice echoes, urging Li Qiol to grow stronger. The era is harsh, and only the strong survive. The young man takes the words to heart. As he regains consciousness, the gravity of his situation sinks in. The fight has taken a toll, but he's still standing. Li Qiol's injuries are severe: cracked bones, torn muscles, and damaged mana circuits. Yet, he brushes it off as nothing too serious. His mana reserves have grown exponentially, a side effect of consuming the purple twilight stone. The young man feels stronger, but pays the price. The risks were high, but the rewards might just be worth it. The purple twilight stone was originally meant for someone else. Li Qiol feels a pang of guilt, but knows he had no other choice. His eldest brother appears, bringing a potion for treatment. The reunion is tense, but concern for Li Qiol's well-being is evident. The young man accepts the potion, knowing he'll need every advantage for what's to come. Li Qiol's brother expresses relief that he survived. The threat of erasing every organization connected to the tamer shows his protective side. The young man reassures him, though the tension between them lingers. Their bond is complicated, but family ties run deep. The conversation shifts to the tamer's fate. Li Qiol insists on handling the information himself. As a warrior, Li Qiol's actions are commendable. As a brother, his recklessness is concerning. The eldest brother's words carry both pride and worry. Li Qiol acknowledges his mistakes, but stands by his decisions. The tamer's information is his to claim, and he won't back down. The dynamic between the brothers is complex, blending respect, rivalry, and care. The tamer's background is revealed: a former semi-rank 5 exorcist from Japan's Onmyorio, excommunicated for forbidden sorcery. The mastermind behind the attack remains unidentified. The tamer's condition makes extracting information difficult, but Li Qiol is determined. The young man prepares for the next step. The fight for answers is far from over. Li Qiol realizes he wasn't the primary target. The attack was meant to tarnish his eldest brother's reputation, not kill him. The young man points out the flaws in the plan. By reacting too late, The brothers standing within the family could have been compromised. The eldest brother acknowledges the truth. The scheme was clever, but Li Qiol's survival foiled their plans. The eldest brother brushes off the damage to his reputation. A few scratches won't change much, but he can't stay away for long. Li Qiol proposes a deal. He'll testify that his brother anticipated the tamer's infiltration, boosting his credibility. The offer is strategic. In exchange, Li Qiol wants access to the scripture pavilion for 3 days. The eldest brother agrees to the deal, amused by Li Qiol's cunning. The young man's plan would make it seem like his brother outsmarted the family's intelligence unit. The brother questions if honesty would be better, but Li Qiol insists. Increased scrutiny would only make his life harder. The deal is struck. Li Qiol gains access to the pavilion, and his brother's reputation remains intact. The eldest brother leaves, summoned by the Chongyam unit. He praises Li Qiol's resourcefulness, knowing the young man would have found a way regardless. The conversation ends on a note of mutual respect. Despite their rivalry, the brothers share a bond that goes beyond competition. Li Qiol reflects on the conversation. His brother is no easy opponent, but the young man holds his own. The matter is settled, at least for now. Li Qiol turns his attention to the next challenge, the trial chambers. Sister is asked which trial chamber he'll challenge. He reveals his choice, the Chamber of Struggle, located in the outskirts. The reaction is mixed. Some see it as a disappointing choice, but Li Qiol remains unfazed. The young man knows what he's doing. The Chamber of Struggle holds secrets others overlook. The Chamber of Struggle is dismissed as an easier option. Li Qiol's choice is met with skepticism, but he doesn't care. The young man heads to the outskirts, determined to prove his worth. The chamber's true potential is hidden from most. Li Qiol's confidence never waves. He knows the value of this challenge. Li Qiol recalls a hidden cave he discovered before his regression. The Chamber of Struggle is more than it seems. The young man dismisses others' opinions. Let them think what they want. He has his own path to follow. The cave's location comes back to him. Li Qiol prepares to uncover its secrets. The Chamber of Struggle is where Li Qiol will complete the second task of the naming ceremony. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary wall, but Li Qiol knows better. The chamber's true nature is hidden beneath the surface. The young man steps forward, ready to face whatever lies ahead. Li Qiol raises his sword and strikes the wall. The blade cuts through stone, revealing an iron door hidden behind it. The young man smirks. The Chamber of Struggle is no ordinary trial. Its secrets are now within his reach. The iron door creaks open, and Li Qiol steps inside, ready for the next challenge. The trial of the ancestors begins. The young warrior steps forward, ready to face the challenge. His resolve is unshakable. The chamber's atmosphere shifts, signaling the start of the trial. Every move will be tested, every skill pushed to the limit. Sungwiga's warrior seeks to conquer the trial of the ancestors. The challenge is legendary, and few have succeeded. The young man requests permission to begin. His determination is clear, but the trial's difficulty is unmatched. The chamber's energy intensifies. The fight ahead will test not just his strength, but his mind and spirit. The Chamber of Struggle has one task: defeat oneself in battle. Attempts are unlimited, but victory is the only way out. The young man braces himself. The trial's illusions are designed to exploit every weakness, pushing him to his limits. Failure isn't an option. The fighter prepares for the grueling challenge ahead. Disorientation sets in as the trial begins. The young warrior struggles to understand what's happening. The illusions feel real, too real. Pain, fear, and doubt creep in, but he refuses to let them take over. The fighter takes a deep breath, steadying himself. The trial is just beginning, and he can't afford to falter. The sensations are overwhelming. Pain feels real, even though the young man knows it's an illusion. An ordinary person might break under the pressure, but he pushes through. The trial is designed to test his limits. The fighter grits his teeth. He's not just fighting the illusions. he's fighting himself. The illusions use his abilities at 100% efficiency, exposing every flaw. The young man realizes he's not reaching his full potential. Each attempt ends in failure, but he learns from every mistake. The trial is brutal, but it's also a chance to grow. The fighter refuses to give up. Every death, every failure, brings him closer to victory. Attempt after attempt, the young warrior pushes forward. Each failure teaches him something new. The trial's difficulty is relentless, but so is his determination. He's not just fighting to win, he's fighting to improve. The fighter's resolve hardens. No matter how many times he falls, he'll keep getting back up. The young man begins to understand. His greatest strength isn't raw power, it's adaptability and unpredictability. The trial forces him to think differently, to use his skills in new ways. The fighter embraces the challenge. Victory isn't just about strength. It's about outsmarting the illusions and himself. Each clash with the illusions reveals more about his abilities. The young warrior learns to adapt, to think on his feet. The trial's intensity grows, but so does his confidence. He's not just surviving, he's thriving. The fighter's progress is undeniable. The end of the trial is within reach. The young man's movements begin to align with the illusions. His adaptability shines as he learns to predict their patterns. Each clash brings him closer to victory. The fighter's confidence grows, but the trial isn't over yet. Li Chiol leaves his guard open intentionally. The risky move catches the illusion off guard, creating an opening. The young warrior capitalizes on the moment, striking with precision. His strategy pays off, but the fight isn't over. The trial continues to test his limits, but the fighter is ready for whatever comes next. Passing the trial unlocks a hidden power within Sungwiga's bloodline. In his past life, it was a common enhancement ability. This time, however, the power feels different. The young man senses something greater, something unique to him. Li Chiol's potential begins to reveal itself. The trial's rewards are more than he expected. The young warrior emerges from the trial, only to face another challenge. His actions during the ceremony have caused quite a stir. Mana density fluctuates wildly around him. The fighter's newfound power is unstable, drawing attention from all sides. Li Chiol braces himself. The consequences of his choices are just beginning to unfold. Someone's shout of concern cuts through as the young man struggles to regain control, his body still reeling from the trial's aftermath. Hunger strains the fighter's voice as he mutters, his concerning condition lingering. The trial's effects linger, but Li Chiol is determined to push through. A voice scolds the young warrior for his recklessness, his master's tone blending anger with relief at his return. The fighter's actions, facing a beast tamer, Gwizin, and an ancient trial, have caused no shortage of worry. Li Chiol listens quietly, knowing he's earned the lecture. His journey has been anything but ordinary. The young man grumbles to his nanny about feeling disgusting, his eagerness for a bath and a meal mounting after nearly a month outdoors. His nanny prepares everything, her care unwavering. The fighter's return is met with warmth, despite his reckless choices. Li Chiol asks about his aunt, sensing something is off. The atmosphere shifts, hinting at more challenges ahead. The reason for his aunt's absence becomes clear. She caused a commotion in the control room, lashing out at the elders and his eldest brother. Her anger stemmed from fear of losing Li Chiol. The young man listens quietly, understanding her emotions. The fighter's actions have shaken the family, but his aunt's outburst shows how much she cares. Li Chiol reflects on his relationship with his aunt. He never fully trusted her, but over time, she became family. Her actions, though extreme, were driven by love. The young man acknowledges this, feeling a mix of gratitude and guilt. The fighter's journey has changed him, and so have the people around him. Father arrives on his private plane and is greeted by many members of the Li clan, including Li Hua and Li Chiol. The feast is a celebration, but Li Chiol's mind is elsewhere. The gap between him and his father feels insurmountable. His father's words are sharp. Only those who struggle have a place in the family, and Li Qiul's ambition hasn't gone unnoticed. The young man listens carefully, knowing his father's approval is hard-earned. The fighter's resolve hardens. He's determined to prove himself, no matter the cost. The banquet hall buzzes with activity. Li Qiul is approached by a servant, informing him that his father requests his presence. The young warrior follows, his mind racing. The summons could mean anything, from praise to punishment. The fighter's journey has been full of surprises, and this meeting is no exception. Li Qiul stands before his father, awaiting his words. The young man's heart pounds, unsure of what's to come. The fighter's journey has been marked by trials, but this moment feels like the ultimate test. Li Qiul stands before his father, who questions him about the naming ceremony. The young man knows his father is already aware of the details. The eldest brother's involvement is brought up. The fighter's deal with him is revealed, and his father's sharp gaze makes it clear he sees through the lies. The tension is palpable. Li Qiul braces himself for the consequences of his actions. Li Qiul confirms the deal with his eldest brother. The conditions were clear: access to Zhang Yongyak and protection from backlash. His father forgives the false report, but warns there won't be a second chance. The fighter's achievements are acknowledged, but his methods are questioned. The eldest brother will face punishment later. Li Qiul is dismissed to oversee the banquet, his duties far from over. The banquet hall is filled with guests, and the naming ceremony begins. The eighth child, Hua, steps forward to receive her name. Her radiant energy is celebrated, and she is bestowed the name Xiao Haiyan, meaning radiant and auspicious. The atmosphere is festive, but Li Qiul's mind is elsewhere, anticipating his own moment. The ninth child, Yang, steps forward. The ceremony continues, each name carrying deep meaning and significance. The young man watches quietly, knowing his turn is coming. The weight of the moment isn't lost on him. Li Qiul's reaction is the same as before, but it doesn't matter. His father describes him as firm yet sharp, flexible yet unyielding. The name Qiul, iron, is bestowed upon him. Once a name to live as strong as iron, its meaning has now evolved. The young man accepts it, knowing it reflects his growth and resilience. The fighter's resolve is unwavering. He's no longer the same person who entered the naming ceremony. The moment is a turning point, marking the beginning of a new chapter. "My name is Li Qiul," he declares. The name carries weight, symbolizing his journey and the challenges he's overcome. Qianghua paces her cell, cursing the elder's timing. Missing Qiul's milestone gnaws at her pride and loyalty. Her threats to dismantle the room grow louder. A guard finally appears, announcing conditional freedom under strict terms. Qianghua confronts Qiul post-release. Their tense exchange reveals a transactional alliance forged through necessity. The elders decree her mentorship role. She accepts grudgingly, masking disdain for their manipulative tactics. Their partnership begins with mutual wariness. Qiul's calm demeanor clashes with her simmering defiance. Qiul reveals his role in her freedom. Qianghua's gratitude is overshadowed by unease about his growing influence. The mentorship binds her to his training. She critiques his stance, masking concern with harsh corrections. The protagonist says she is now his mentor. He addresses her as master. Now our boy is 13 years old. The nanny looks at him and smiles. She's proud of him. The boy says it's time for him to go and says goodbye to his favorite nanny. Now he will have other things to do. Cadets whisper about Qiul's illegitimate status. Rumors of luck and favoritism swirl as he ignores the noise. Instructors begin orientation drills. The gossip fades, replaced by a collective focus on survival techniques. Qiul's neutral expression hides scrutiny. He notes rivals, allies, and potential threats within the crowd. Li Xiao Haiyan's entrance halts chatter. Her poise contrasts Qiul's understated presence, highlighting clan divides. Cadets bow reflexively. Qiul observes, analyzing her every move for insights into main family strategies. Their eyes briefly meet. He nods politely, avoiding overt gestures that might draw unwanted attention. Seo Hyun probes Cheol about the ceremony. He deflects, steering conversation toward training regimens and protocols. Her mention of Scripture Pavilion access sparks curiosity. He downplays it, prioritizing discretion over pride. The exchange ends without resolution. Both depart, aware of unspoken rivalries shaping their paths. Class assignments trigger palpable anxiety. Cheol studies instructors' criteria, strategizing optimal placement. The 3-year program's weight settles over recruits. Mistakes now could derail futures in the clan hierarchy. He steps forward when called, his posture flawless. First impressions matter. Today begins his calculated ascent. Lee Cheol receives his class assignment with visible dissatisfaction. Class 5, known as the trash bin, houses failures and dropouts. The evaluation committee, led by the Elder Council and Lady Beck's faction, openly marginalizes him. Their bias is clear, yet Cheol remains composed. Despite the blatant disrespect, he sees an opportunity. Class 5's low expectations might work in his favor, allowing him to operate unnoticed. He accepts the assignment calmly, recognizing the strategic advantage of being underestimated by his rivals. Cheol's expression hardens as he processes the insult. His demeanor suggests readiness to act if provoked, though he remains outwardly calm. The instructor's tone is dismissive, but Cheol refrains from reacting. His focus shifts to long-term goals rather than immediate grievances. He follows the instructor to Class 5, masking his determination behind a neutral facade. Class 5's reputation weighs heavily on Cheol. Doubts about graduation and his father's expectations surface, but he pushes them aside. The main family's high standards contrast sharply with Class 5's low status. Cheol resolves to prove his worth despite the stigma. A fellow cadet, Kim Han, introduces himself. His enthusiasm contrasts with Cheol's restrained demeanor, hinting at future alliances. Kim Han's cheerful greeting breaks the tension. His background as a blacksmith's son highlights the diversity within Class 5. Cheol's neutral response masks curiosity. He notes Kim Han's potential as an ally in navigating the clan's rigid hierarchy. Their interaction sets the stage for collaboration, though Cheol remains cautious about forming bonds too quickly. Choi In-ha steps forward, introducing herself as the class leader. Her cheerful tone eases tensions, though her repeated years hint at struggles. The session begins with an overview of Class 5 structure. Cadets listen intently, aware of the challenges ahead in this marginalized group. Instructor Lee Young-ho welcomes the new cadets to Class 5. His stern demeanor contrasts with the rookie's nervous energy. Lee Cheol observes silently, analyzing the dynamics. His calm presence contrasts with the growing anticipation among peers. Young-ho explains the class leader's role, emphasizing its importance during missions. Her transparency about repeating years earns respect. Cadets exchange glances, weighing their chances of leadership. Any one of them could become one. In-ha explains that he doesn't know what the situation is like in other classes, but he does know about the traditions and rules of their group. The election process includes a sparring match followed by voting. Cadets will spar with each other to show their skills. Lee Cheol observes silently, analyzing the dynamics. His calm presence contrasts with the growing anticipation among peers. Cheol's frustration surfaces, criticizing the cadets' lack of seriousness. His words sting, reminding them of Sung Wiga's harsh realities. Some cadets defend their approach, advocating for peaceful resolutions. Cheol dismisses their arguments, emphasizing survival over comfort. His intensity shifts the atmosphere. Cadets exchange uneasy glances, realizing the stakes of their training. Cheol challenges the cadets to face him one by one. His confidence unnerves them, but none dare refuse the direct challenge. The first match ends swiftly, showcasing Cheol's overwhelming skill. His dominance leaves little room for doubt about his capabilities. Cadets murmur in awe, their initial skepticism replaced by reluctant admiration. Cheol defeats multiple opponents in rapid succession. His efficiency and precision highlight the gap between him and his peers. The cadet's shock grows with each victory. Cheol's presence dominates the hall, leaving no doubt about his superiority. Inha watches intently, recognizing the determination driving his actions. Cheol calls out Choi Inha, signaling the final match. Her hesitation contrasts with his unwavering focus. The cadets fall silent, anticipating the clash between the class leader and the newcomer. Tension fills the training hall. Inha steps forward, steeling herself for the inevitable challenge. Cheol's relentless drive puzzles the cadets. His actions seem excessive for a simple sparring match, yet his motives remain unclear. Inha begins to understand his perspective. Her own past struggles resonate with his refusal to compromise. The match becomes a test of wills, transcending physical combat. Cheol's determination stems from a desire to prove himself. His experiences fuel his refusal to accept mediocrity. Inha reflects on her own journey, recognizing parallels in their struggles. The match becomes a symbol of their shared resolve. Cheol's victory is inevitable, but the lessons learned to extend beyond the sparring hall. Injured cadets are carried to the infirmary after sparring. Cheol's relentless approach leaves visible physical and psychological marks. The instructor observes silently, disapproval evident. Class 5's reputation for brutality solidifies with each new casualty. Inha switches to his left hand mid-fight, compensating for injuries. His focus intensifies, unnerving opponents with sudden adaptability. Cadets note the shift in his demeanor. Cold precision replaces earlier restraint. The sparring evolves into a survival trial. But our hero didn't want to give up. He quickly turned around and hit him back on the other arm. The next blow came right into the body of the opponent. Our guy hit fast, hard, and confidently. The protagonist strikes Inho and asks the other cadets to take him away. He doesn't even look at his opponent. Then, to the sound of his victory, he goes to give his new speech to raise the morale of all the cadets. Cheol defends his harsh methods, linking struggle to growth. Survival in Sungwiga demands relentless effort, not complacency. His words resonate with some cadets, sparking introspection. Others cling to resentment, unable to reconcile his philosophy. Instructor Lee Young-ho confronts Cheol about excessive force. For fractures and 3 internal injuries strain their rapport. Cheol dismisses concerns, arguing weakness invites greater danger. The instructor's idealism clashes with his pragmatism. Lee Young-ho warns Cheol about crossing moral lines. Leadership requires guidance, not domination through fear. Cheol's body aches post-sparring, yet he remains unapologetic. Pain, he believes, is a necessary teacher for the cadets. Cadets now regard Cheol with wary respect instead of fear. Their defiance softens into cautious curiosity about his methods. Guy approaches him, acknowledging her earlier misjudgment. Their dynamic shifts toward uneasy collaboration. A cadet approaches Lee Cheol, seeking advice on becoming stronger. Cheol admits he's not yet qualified to teach, but praises the cadet's instincts. The interaction reveals Cheol's growing influence. Even skeptics begin mirroring his routines, testing his philosophy firsthand. He suggests focusing on honing natural abilities rather than raw strength. The cadet's potential lies in refining what he already possesses. Cheol reflects on the cadet's ability to dodge feints, highlighting his sharp reflexes. Technique, he argues, will serve him better than brute force. The cadet questions Cheol's relentless approach, accusing him of dismissing rest as weakness. Cheol's response remains firm, prioritizing growth over comfort. Their exchange reveals a growing divide between Cheol's philosophy and the cadet's resistance to his methods. The class gathers, visibly exhausted. Absences and fatigue mark the group, signaling the toll of Cheol's intense training regimen. Instructor Lee Young-ho notes the shift in atmosphere. The once relaxed cadets now operate under constant tension, driven by Cheol's influence. The day's schedule adjusts to accommodate their condition, but the assessment proceeds without delay. Chiyo's presence has transformed the class dynamic. The cadets, once complacent, now train with heightened urgency, spurred by his relentless standards. The instructor observes their progress, acknowledging the change. The assessment, though grueling, reveals glimpses of improvement among the group. Chiyo's methods, though harsh, begin to yield results, forcing the cadets to confront their limitations. Chiyo takes charge as class leader, outlining his expectations. His sessions will be demanding, and only those willing to push themselves should participate. The cadets exchange uneasy glances, unsure if they can meet his standards. Chiyo's authority leaves no room for hesitation or excuses. The first session begins, testing their endurance and resolve under his watchful eye. Chiyo's leadership style is uncompromising. He challenges anyone dissatisfied to duel him, offering the class leader position to those who land a hit. The cadets spar under his supervision, their exhaustion evident. Only 6 manage to complete the session, highlighting the gap in their abilities. Chiyo dismisses the group, acknowledging their effort but leaving no doubt about the challenges ahead. Frustration simmers among the cadets. Many question the purpose of Chiyo's harsh methods, struggling to see the value in his approach. Guy reflects on her own journey, recognizing the need for change. Repeating a year has taught her the cost of complacency. Chiyo's influence, though divisive, begins to spark introspection among the cadets, pushing them to reconsider their limits. The cadets' resentment toward Chiyo grows, yet his dominance remains unchallenged. His methods, though brutal, force them to confront their weaknesses. Inha's determination to improve contrasts with others' reluctance. She sees Chiyo's approach as a necessary catalyst for growth. The young boy voices her frustration, admitting she feels inadequate compared to Chiyo. Despite exhaustion, she resolves to push harder this time. Her determination contrasts with others' reluctance. He refuses to repeat past mistakes, even if it means risking injury. Chiyo's influence sparks a shift in their mindset, pushing them to embrace struggle as a path to growth. Inha urges her peers to stop resisting Chiyo's methods. She sees his harsh training as their last chance to improve and prove themselves. Her plea falls on deaf ears for some, while others begin to reconsider their stance. The class remains divided over Chiyo's leadership. The session ends abruptly, leaving the cadets to reflect on their choices and the challenges ahead. Chiyo struggles to refine his aura, facing unexpected obstacles after reaching the 3-star level. His progress stalls without proper references. He considers Mujin's memories as a potential solution, but finds accessing them difficult. The lack of guidance frustrates him. Despite setbacks, he remains determined to overcome the barrier, knowing mastery of aura is crucial for his growth. Chiyo reflects on his findings from Jangyangak. The dark energy surrounding Mujin's memories intrigues him, hinting at untapped potential. He contemplates how to harness this power, aware of its risks. The beast's fear of the energy suggests its destructive capabilities. His research deepens, blending past knowledge with newfound insights to advance his techniques. Chiyo's progress impresses his aunt, who praises his self-taught advancements. Reaching the aura stage without formal guidance is no small feat. She encourages him to continue, confident he'll overcome current obstacles. Her support bolsters his resolve to push further. Their conversation shifts to her own experiences, offering Chiyo valuable perspective on mastering 3-star techniques. Chiyo's aunt explains the complexities of 3-star techniques, emphasizing the time required to master aura-based skills. She inquires about his cadet training, noting his exhaustion. Her concern hints at deeper involvement in his development. Their bond strengthens as she offers guidance, blending familial support with mentorship. Kyunghwa announces a special lecture on mana techniques, surprising the cadets. Her arrival signals a shift in their training regimen. Chiyo's unease grows as she takes charge, her methods unpredictable yet effective. The cadets brace for another intense session. Her presence adds a new dynamic to the class, blending authority with a touch of humor. Manhwa begins her lecture, cutting through formalities to focus on practical lessons. Her teaching style is direct and engaging. The cadets respond with cautious enthusiasm, intrigued by her expertise. Her ability to simplify complex concepts earns their respect. The session sets the stage for advanced training, pushing the cadets to expand their understanding of mana techniques. Manhwa transitions to demonstrating the improved iron line technique. Her energy captivates the class, drawing their full attention. She reveals her efforts to secure resources for Cheol, highlighting her support despite clan politics. Her actions underscore her loyalty. The cadets watch intently, eager to learn from her expertise and apply it to their own training. Cheol thanks his aunt for her guidance, acknowledging her role in his progress. Her techniques promise to double his power if mastered. The session marks a turning point, blending theory with practical application under Manhwa's watchful eye. The cadets pair up for sparring, eager to test their newfound knowledge. Cheol prepares to face a challenger, ready to prove his skills. Cheol accepts the challenge, signaling his readiness to spar without holding back. His confidence reflects his growing mastery of techniques. The cadets watch closely, anticipating a demonstration of his abilities. The match promises to be a test of skill and endurance. They clashed in a fight and were ready to tear each other apart. Their wooden training balls collided with each other. Manhwa observes her presence, ensuring the session remains both productive and safe. Cadets grumble about Cheol's unfair advantages, citing his unique abilities and rigorous training. They feel overshadowed by his natural talent. Manhwa overhears their complaints, confronting them with sharp words. Her defense of Cheol highlights the gap between their efforts and his. The cadets fall silent, realizing their grievances pale in comparison to Cheol's struggles. Manhwa scolds the cadets for underestimating Cheol's efforts. She emphasizes that his achievements stem from relentless hard work, not privilege. Her words strike a chord, forcing the cadets to reconsider their perspective. They apologize, acknowledging their ignorance of his daily challenges. The confrontation leaves them reflecting on their own commitment to improvement. The cadets argue that their hard work deserves recognition, despite their different starting points. They resent being dismissed as inferior. Manhwa counters, explaining that Cheol's life is far more demanding. His struggles surpass their understanding, making their complaints seem trivial. Her blunt assessment forces them to confront the reality of their situation. Training concludes for the day, leaving the cadets exhausted. They question Cheol's emphasis on struggle, attributing his success to innate talent. Their frustration grows as they compare themselves to him, feeling inadequate despite their efforts. The gap between them feels insurmountable. The session ends with unresolved tension, highlighting the divide within the class. A group of cadets decides to investigate Cheol's activities, curious about his late-night training. They venture into the main estate, breaking protocol. Their curiosity outweighs their caution, driven by a desire to understand his methods. The forbidden area adds an element of risk to their mission. The cadets' determination to uncover Cheol's secrets reflects their growing obsession with his success. Fatigue sets in as the cadets debate whether to continue their investigation. Some argue for returning, while others insist on pressing forward. Their exhaustion mirrors their frustration with Cheol's relentless pace. The group's unity wavers under the strain of their conflicting priorities. The decision to abandon their mission underscores their lack of resolve compared to Cheol. They see a young gentleman walk into the training room. They are shocked and don't understand what he is doing there at night. A loud noise interrupts the cadets' retreat, drawing their attention to the training grounds. The sound of intense practice echoes through the estate. They realize Cheol is still training, pushing himself beyond their limits. The revelation leaves them stunned, questioning their own dedication. The cadets admit defeat, acknowledging Cheol's unmatched work ethic. They resolve to emulate his dedication, inspired by his relentless pursuit of strength. Their perspective shifts as they recognize the value of hard work over excuses. The experience marks a turning point in their training mindset. Cheol's influence begins to reshape their approach, bridging the gap between resentment and respect. Cheol vows to prove his methods right, no matter the cost. His determination drives him to push beyond limits, even as others doubt him. The guy with the green hair keeps following him and finally notices him walking into the house. A guard interrupts, questioning his late-night activities. Cheol's routine of training at odd hours raises eyebrows among the estate staff. The guard expresses surprise at finding a cadet with Cheol. His nightly training sessions are known, but rarely witnessed by others. Cheol's companion is sent back, reminded of the rules. The incident underscores the strict discipline governing the estate. Lights remain on in the training area well past midnight. Cheol's relentless schedule leaves little time for rest, even at 2 a.m. The cadets return to their quarters, exhausted but inspired. The next day's training looms, promising another grueling session. The cadet leaves, reflecting on the intensity of Cheol's dedication. In the morning, Cheol's exhaustion is evident, yet he continues training. His physique and mana reserves are exceptional, but sleep deprivation takes its toll. Cadets compare their routines to his, realizing the disparity in effort. Cheol's sacrifices highlight the gap between them. The contrast forces them to reconsider their own habits and priorities. A cadet confronts Cheol, questioning his extreme lifestyle. They admit to balancing training with rest and leisure, unlike him. Cheol's response is calm but firm. He acknowledges his fatigue, but sees no alternative to his relentless pursuit of strength. The conversation reveals the depth of his commitment, leaving the cadet in awe. Cheol explains his lifelong routine, shaped by necessity rather than choice. Sleep deprivation is a small price for survival and growth. The cadet struggles to comprehend his mindset. Cheol's answer is simple. His path is the only way he knows to secure his future. The exchange leaves the cadet questioning their own resolve. Official orders arrive, detailing dangerous missions for the cadets. The stakes are high, and survival requires exceptional preparation. Cheol accepts the challenge, ready to lead his peers through the trials ahead. His focus remains on creating capable fighters. The task ahead is daunting, but Cheol's determination remains unshaken. The clan's leadership discusses Cheol's impact, noting his unique perspective. His ability to inspire change sets him apart from others. They decide to raise training standards, testing his leadership capabilities. The decision reflects their growing interest in his potential. Cheol's journey becomes a benchmark for the entire cohort. The elders acknowledge Cheol's resilience, shaped by past hardships. His leadership skills are put to the test as standards rise. The decision to elevate training challenges all cadets, not just Cheol. His ability to inspire and lead will determine their collective success. The clan prepares to measure Cheol's leadership in upcoming trials. His ability to transform others will be scrutinized closely. The early morning session surprises even the instructor. The cadets' dedication reflects Cheol's influence, pushing them to improve. Cadets train intensely on the weekend, their determination evident. Cheol observes their efforts, noting their growing commitment. Despite exhaustion, they refuse to give up, driven by the desire to prove themselves. The instructor announces a sudden change. The midterm evaluation is moved up. The cadets exchange uneasy glances, unsure of the implications. A one-week break is granted beforehand, allowing time to rest and prepare. The instructor trusts them to maintain minimal training during the hiatus. The news leaves the cadets both relieved and anxious about the upcoming challenges. The cadets hesitate to leave, watching Cheol for cues. They question his plans for the break, expecting him to enforce rigorous training. Cheol surprises them by emphasizing the importance of rest. His words contrast with his usual intensity, showing a more balanced approach. Cheol clarifies his stance, urging the cadets to rest when needed. He acknowledges their dedication, but stresses the value of recovery. His unexpected leniency shocks the group. They expected harsh demands, not encouragement to take a break. The cadets leave, contemplating how to balance rest and training during the break. Cheol visits his aunt, interrupting her research. She teases him about using his break to bother her instead of resting. Their banter reveals a close relationship. Despite her complaints, she listens as he shares his concerns about the upcoming evaluation. Cheol's focus remains on breaking through his current limits, even during the break. Cheol discusses the evaluation's increased difficulty, linking it to his father's orders. He realizes he must access Mujin's next memory to progress. His aunt offers insights, but Cheol remains frustrated by his inability to unlock the memory. The solution eludes him, demanding further reflection. Cheol's aunt scolds him for disorganizing her research. Amidst the chaos, he stumbles upon a revelation about ancient techniques. The connection between ancient martial arts and Chukma dawns on him. Excited, he rushes to the training ground to test his theory. Cheol's breakthrough centers on the purpose of ancient techniques. He realizes their focus on combating beasts mirrors his current challenges. The insight fuels his determination to refine his methods. He leaves his aunt's lab, eager to apply his newfound understanding. Cheol's excitement grows as he connects ancient and modern martial arts. The realization promises to enhance his mana techniques significantly. His aunt's research proves invaluable, bridging the gap between theory and practice. Cheol's progress marks a turning point in his training. The cadet's upcoming evaluation now seems less daunting, thanks to his breakthrough. Cheol targets a massive beast, prioritizing raw power over finesse. His combat focus shifts to efficiency, discarding flashy techniques. His aunt observes, noting the ruthless practicality of his approach. Chukma's purpose becomes clear, overwhelming destruction over style. Cheol refines his techniques, targeting enemies larger than himself. His movements disregard defense, focusing solely on overwhelming power. The cadets observe, noting the stark contrast to his previous methods. Cheol's intensity reflects his determination to master Chukma. His aunt nods approvingly, recognizing the effectiveness of his approach. Cheol names his new technique Grajaka, Deadly Piercer. The move embodies his focus on raw, unrelenting force. The cadets practice nearby, inspired by his innovation. Cheol's progress sets a new standard for their training. The training ground mirrors Mujin's memories. Cheol's perspective shifts. He now feels the terrain, anticipating threats like prey. He reflects on Mujin's memories, noting the unique perspective they provide. The connection deepens his understanding of ancient techniques. Cheol observes a figure from Mujin's memories, noting their incredible speed. The encounter reinforces his resolve to refine his techniques. He realizes Mujin's aura adapts with each weapon change, not the wielder. The insight transforms his approach to combat. He sees a man with a blindfold practicing. The boy marvels at the sight and his strength. The boy feels his aura changing, and it surprises him very much. He thinks about how to achieve the same power. The warrior in the blindfold turns to our protagonist. He says that he should be quiet when others are training. It turns out he's not talking to our protagonist. He's talking to someone else. They're condemning the name of the tech. The interlocutor of the man with the blindfold asks if he brought someone else with him. Our guy is sitting very quietly. Suddenly, two guys are fighting, and their swords also clash together. A clang of metal is heard. He looks at his eyes and hair and can't believe what he sees. Those facial features seem familiar to him. The boy realizes that this guy belongs to the main lineage of Sungwiga. This discovery shakes his mind. A barrier divides safe zones from danger zones. Humanity's struggle against monsters reshaped the world long ago. A Pacific rift birthed monsters, creating uncharted lands. Safe zones offer refuge, but danger lurks beyond. Frontier villages near danger zones are underdeveloped, isolated, and starkly contrast inter-region safety. The rift's unknown space remains unexplored. Monsters forced humans into a relentless battle. Vaste dans le roman inconquis, la bled danger zone. Their proximity to the rift makes them perilous. The barrier is a fragile defense, separating safety from chaos. Sheol recalls life in a frontier village, hiding from threats. The memory highlights danger zones' harsh realities. The group prepares to enter an uncharted dungeon. The instructor warns them to stay alert. It's no ordinary mission. The cadets steel themselves, aware of risks but determined to prove their worth. The mission: set up a base camp, check supplies, and begin the test. Escort warriors guard the camp. Cadets handle the rest. Sheol takes command, emphasizing preparation. The cadets respond enthusiastically, ready to showcase their training. The instructor offers support, but reminds them this is their challenge to face. The cadets express confidence in Sheol, their loyalty evident. He dismisses praise, focusing on the mission. They confirm communications and check supplies before entering the spider-infested forest. The atmosphere is tense, but determined. Sheol's leadership inspires them, turning fear into resolve. Human-faced spiders behave like ants or bees, making them unpredictable and dangerous. The mission: record older spiders' movements. Sheol delegates command to Inha, surprising the group. Her leadership will be tested in the treacherous forest. The cadets accept the challenge, ready to prove their capabilities under her guidance. The cadets cheer for Sheol, their trust unwavering. He brushes off praise, focusing on the task. The atmosphere shifts to determination. They prepare to enter the forest, aware of the dangers. Sheol's leadership ensures they face the challenge united and ready. The forest of human-faced spiders looms, its dangers clear. The cadets trust Sheol's guidance to navigate the perilous mission. Their unity and resolve shine as they step into the unknown, ready to prove their worth. The test begins, pushing them to their limits. Sheol decides to move alone, becoming prey for the human-faced spiders. His plan relies on luring them out to gather valuable footage. The cadets hesitate but trust his judgment. Sheol's strategy is risky but calculated, aiming to exploit the spiders' behavior. The spiders gather, drawn by Sheol's deliberate actions. He spreads danger pheromones, ensuring they see him as valuable prey. The plan works, but the danger escalates. Sheol remains focused, knowing the mission's success depends on his precision. Sheol proves his strength to the spiders, making himself a target. His power attracts their attention, fulfilling the mission's requirements. The spiders watch from a distance, amazed by his boldness. Sheol's strategy hinges on balancing risk and reward. The spiders around are preparing to attack our protagonist. They do it together without leaving him any chance. They attack him from all sides. He has no chance to dodge, but for some reason the boy smiles. Inside a spider's cocoon, Sheol assesses his condition. The poison affects him, but his training keeps him functional. He suppresses his presence using stealth techniques, avoiding detection. The plan progresses, but the danger remains high. Sheol searches for the spider larvae, a key part of his mission. Their presence confirms the nest's location and activity. The cadets monitor his progress, ready to intervene if needed. Sheol's focus remains on completing the mission efficiently. The nest contains numerous prey cocoons, more than expected. Sheol questions why the spiders haven't consumed them yet. The anomaly raises suspicions, hinting at deeper dangers. Sheol prepares for the unexpected, staying alert to potential threats. Dark energy resonates within the nest, unsettling Sheol. The phenomenon suggests a connection to the spider's behavior. He investigates cautiously, aware of the risks. The cadets observe, their unease growing as the situation becomes more complex. A spider queen speaks, shocking Sheol. The dark energy seems to amplify her consciousness, making her more dangerous. Sheol realizes the mission stakes are higher than anticipated. The cadets prepare for a fight, their training put to the test. Sheol struggles to maintain stealth under the queen's pressure. Her presence overwhelms him, forcing him to adapt quickly. The cadet watched, ready to fight. Sheol's determination drives him forward, despite the mounting challenges. A high-ranking predator's pressure fills the nest, threatening Cheol. The dark energy's influence grows, complicating the mission. Cheol fights to suppress his mana, avoiding detection. The cadet braced for the worst, his resolve tested by the unfolding chaos. Cheol confronts the sealing formation, its power overwhelming. The dark energy's interference disrupts his plans, forcing improvisation. Suddenly, a terrible explosion occurs from inside the cocoon, destroying everyone inside it. This is surely the end for all spiders.